Most engines don't die because they're old. They die because of hidden killers owners never think about. These aren't just bad habits like skipping oil changes. They're built-in features, flashy modes, and cheap shortcuts that quietly eat away at your engine from the inside out. What I want to show you in this series are the traps that manufacturers, tuners, and even drivers set without realizing it. Each of these can shave years off your engine's life, cost you thousands in repairs, and leave you wondering what went wrong. The good news? Once you know them, you can avoid them, and your engine can last far longer than most people ever expect. So let's get started with the first silent killer, launch control. Engine killer number 1, launch control abuse. Launch control feels like a superpower. One button, one stomp on the gas, and suddenly you're pinned to the seat as the car rockets forward. But behind the scenes, it's organized violence. When you launch, the engine is preloaded with revs. The clutch or torque converter is forced to take massive shock, and the drivetrain absorbs stress equal to years of normal driving in just a few seconds. Bearings that rely on smooth oil films get hammered, connecting rods stretch microscopically, and turbochargers spin harder than they were ever meant to during everyday use. Transmission fluid overheats, clutch packs glaze, and seals weaken. You won't see the damage right away, and that's what makes it so deceptive. The car feels fine today, but a few thousand miles later, you start hearing a knock, smelling burnt fluid, or noticing rough shifts. Some people defend it by saying, if the factory built it, it must be safe. That's only true if you treat it as an occasional feature. Manufacturers know launch control is hard on parts, which is why some cars limit how many times you can use it, or log launches in the ECU. Abusing it isn't a shortcut to fun. It's a shortcut to a rebuild. The smart approach is to reserve launch control for special occasions when the engine is fully warmed, fluids are fresh, and you give the car cool-down time between runs. Think of it like fireworks, thrilling once in a while. But if you light them every night, eventually something's going to blow up where you least want it. Engine killer number 2, sport or aggressive shift modes. Sport mode is addictive because it makes any car feel sharper, faster, more alive. But when left on all the time, it quietly drains years from your engine and transmission. The trick is in how it changes behavior. The throttle becomes more sensitive, gears are held longer, and the engine spends much more time at higher RPMs. That constant extra stress generates heat, and heat is what kills oil life, weakens seals, and accelerates wear on bearings and valve train components. What feels like a lively commute is actually a workout. Your engine wasn't meant to repeat every day. Transmissions suffer just as much. Dual clutch systems clamp harder and shift more aggressively, which makes for dramatic acceleration, but also wears clutches faster. Automatics hold gears longer, which raises fluid temperatures, and once ATF breaks down, the whole gearbox starts wearing itself out. Even manuals aren't immune. Aggressive downshift mapping means synchronizers grind away faster than they would in normal use. Add in the fact that sport mode often enriches fuel mixtures, leaving behind more carbon deposits, and you end up with an engine that runs dirtier and less efficiently over time. Engine killer number 3, aftermarket ECU tunes without supporting mods. Everyone loves the idea of unlocking hidden horsepower with a simple tune. Plug in a laptop, flash the ECU, and suddenly your car feels like a different machine. The problem is, when you add power without upgrading the supporting hardware, you're basically strapping a rocket to an engine that wasn't designed to carry it. More boost, more fuel, and more timing sound great on paper, but they also mean higher cylinder pressures, more heat, and thinner safety margins. Pistons that were fine at stock power levels can start cracking under detonation. Stock clutches and transmissions that were built for everyday torque suddenly get overwhelmed. Even the cooling system becomes inadequate, leading to overheating that quietly destroys head gaskets and warps cylinder heads. A lot of owners fall into this trap because tunes feel safe at first. The car runs strong, maybe even stronger than expected. But what you don't see are the microscopic stress fractures forming in rods and bearings, or the oil slowly breaking down from higher temperatures. By the time problems show up, the damage is done, and usually it's catastrophic. That's why responsible tuning isn't just about the software. It's about the hardware that supports it. Bigger intercoolers, Upgraded fuel systems, stronger clutches, and frequent oil analysis aren't optional. They're the only way to make the extra power survive long term. A cheap tune without proper prep is like pouring nitrous into a stock lawnmower. It might scream for a while, but sooner or later, it's going to blow apart. Start or stop system. Start-stop systems are marketed as eco-friendly. You pull up to a light, the engine shuts down, and when the light turns green, it restarts instantly. Great for fuel economy, right? But engines aren't designed to be shut off and restarted dozens of times during a single commute. Every restart means the crankshaft and bearings spin dry for a split second before oil pressure builds. That moment of metal-on-metal contact adds up over time, turning into real wear. Add in the extra strain on the starter motor, battery, and even turbochargers that lose oil pressure while hot, and you have a system that shaves life off critical parts. Manufacturers build heavier starters and beefier batteries to handle this, but they don't redesign the fundamentals of lubrication and heat. Over years of use, start-stop becomes a silent wear multiplier. That's why many drivers disable it, especially in performance cars where turbo health and consistent lubrication are crucial. The truth is, saving a fraction of fuel at stoplights isn't worth the cost of a worn-out engine or electrical system. Start-stop is a feature for regulations, not for engine longevity.